put the tie then.
I don't do that. So those of you that are here now, you are most welcome to this webinar about advanced materials for industrial leadership. We will wait some few more minutes to get maybe some more people to be able to join before we start. So give us a few more minutes and be back. So, okay, let's start. So let me first say very welcome to all of you. So we are here today to be part of this webinar about advanced materials for industrial leadership. My name is Lars Montelius. I'm a professor emeritus at Lund University, and I'm sharing this together with my colleague Andrea Ferrari, professor at Cambridge University, and also the director for the Graphene Center in Cambridge. So the program, if we can take the next slide here, the program is principally a short welcoming that we're doing right now. Then we have a presentation from Jürgen Tidje, the head of unit in the DD-RTD, that will give us a presentation of the advanced materials for industrial leadership, the state of implementation of the strategy. After that, we will have a Q&A session, and that session will be moderated by Andrea Ferrari. And we indicate here principally half an hour, but we have time because we think this is a very important Q&A. So if there are more questions, we will extend this time a bit. Then after that, we will have presentations from me and from Andrea about how we see the, let's say, the travel from I am I to I am for you. And then we have the Q&A session after that. And just for you that are here now, we have info address. If you have any questions, comments, or anything you wonder about, please just send an email to info@iam.eu. So I'm.eu. So, and then you will get answer in due time when there is something to answer, depending on the questions you are asking. So, Andrea, would you like to say some few words before we
Yes,
kick on?
thank you, Lars, and good morning, everybody. I can give you a simple way to remember the names. Is I am I. You cannot be wrong with that. I am I, and I am for you. Very generous, so easy to remember for everybody. And in terms of the Q&A, given the several hundred people who are participating today, you will need to type your questions in the chat and in the Q&A box, and then we will read them out to Jürgen and then to Lars and myself after each session. You can start typing questions whenever you want. And if you have any doubts, again, write to info, or Gemma can come back and help us in case something goes wrong. And with this, I will give the word to Jürgen to start with the first presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lars, and thank you, Andrea. Thanks for having organized this event. And I think the organizers will be so nice to turn the slides. I hope I can see them.
Yes, Gemma will share your slides now.
Okay. Well, whilst this is happening, perfect, yeah. Some of you may wonder, we have the 17th of July. When does Brussels give us some peace and not come with consultations? We would like to go on summer holidays. I think there are very good reasons for this, and I'm actually very grateful. I just saw we have more than 330 participants, which for 17th of July is a big message. In Brussels, everybody is looking to next Thursday when President-designate von der Leyen will speak to the European Parliament about her priorities for the next 5 years, and the European Parliament has then to endorse her or not. That's not the reason why I'm speaking to her, I'm speaking to you. It's about the Advanced Materials Initiative. It is about a new kid on the block, a partnership where the Commission will be the public partner, and we are looking for a private partner on the other side. And if we can go to the next slide. Thank you. So in my overview, I would like to share with you my personal views on what do we expect from this new partnership. And I'm conscious this is a challenge because the names appear. Does an association exist? Not yet. But on the other hand, we need to start setting it up, and the public partner, the Commission, is a bit impatient because by the end of this year, there should be a memorandum of understanding. There should be a SRIA agreed that we can start. At the same time, we start working on the work program for 2025. It's a work program related to the cluster 4, digital industry and space. So a lot is happening in parallel. So to start now really with my points, it's good to have you here to give first-hand information and also to invite you in the upcoming discussions led by our friends on the IM4U partnership, the Future Friends. It's about a strategic research innovation agenda, and this we need. And this will not come from the Commission. This has to come from the industry, from the researchers. And you need to understand the context. Therefore, I will speak about the Commission communication on the advanced materials for industrial leadership. And last but not least, I will also present to you the Technology Council for Advanced Materials, where there have been announcements on the 5th of July. And there will be a call for expression, but if I may say so, this should not be at the center of our discussion today. If we go to the next slide. A new partnership. A new IM4U is for us a new partnership. It has been, the idea has been endorsed by the member states and the so-called strategic plan. The strategic plan should guide the Commission and the member states how future work programs should look like. Future work programs, this concerns the years 2025, 2026, 2027. A new kid on the block, I'm quoting you Lars now, means also that we have expectations, and it should not be seen as a classical kid on the block, a co-program partnership, as you know it from others. We need to be future-proof. Why a new partnership? Why to bring things here together? So I would like to express expectations from our side on which the future partnerships, the stakeholders have to agree upon. And I would like also to recap the steps in 2024 the Commission will do. So let me start with my expectations. A co-program partnership could come back to us with something which the Commission and the member states cannot offer. Expertise and what are the research and innovation needs for the future. It needs to be needs driven. It should not be just research driven or industry driven. It should be the needs on the future markets. What should happen, for instance, on energy, on mobility, what should happen on construction, what should happen in electronics. There could be other priority areas, but what are the needs? Where do we need new advanced materials? And a second step we can then discuss is this nanomaterials, is this graphene, is the composite materials, but we expect from this future partnership a clear definition on the needs and what needs to be done to make it happen. We expect we will offer 250 million euros for the 3 years. Our clear expectation is also that this allows us to leverage into the next framework program. We expect also private investments at the level of 250 million euros, industries and others. This is a lot of money. And the expectation is also, when it comes to this is not an issue for the legal department in big companies. It's an issue where we appeal to the creativity of the stakeholder community. What are they willing to offer? What are they willing to bring in and to write it down in a strategic research innovation agenda? I give you my personal example, not the example of the stakeholders. We have an upcoming movement on technology infrastructures and open innovation testbeds. These are needed for SMEs to test new materials. We have a whole generation of it. Is the industry willing to support such a partnership with such technology infrastructures? A personal idea, this is up to you to discuss, but it's very important not only to flag there will be investments, but for what reasons. And if this appears in this RIA, that will be a big plus for us. We will like to work also with a trilateral cooperation with the member states. So we will find ways that we work with the industry and this partnership, but also with the member states. And I was quoting one example. We would like to accelerate the design of advanced materials. We have heard so far from stakeholders also here in the ongoing initiatives, we need to do a lot in Europe in developing digital tools, AI modeling for accelerating the design of advanced materials. And we need to do it in Europe. We should not rely just on service providers in other jurisdictions of this world. This is a fair point. What we would like to work then with member states that they help us actually on the data infrastructure side, because to use digital tools, you need data. So that is an element I want to give to you. And we have put forward also a topic, not for this partnership, but mainly for member states under the work program 2025. Member states should help us to set up a data infrastructures. And then we would like to work with industries on the digital tools and the next step still in these 3 years. What are the steps in 2024? What we need from the future partnership is a guidance, a partnership proposal, and a strategic research innovation agenda. I'm conscious, and I would like really to acknowledge this expressly, this is a new kid on the block, needs a new association, a new governance, and all this doesn't exist. Do the bureaucrats in Brussels care about it? We care about it, but on the other hand, we need to have on the public side also to have a clear idea about this RIA. So we have to do it, sorry to say so, in parallel. If you think we have to square the circle, think about it, we are cutting the corners. It's a very co-creative process. And that's why I'm also joining this webinar to give you heads up on our expectations. So work program 2025, 2026, 2027, they should be influenced by topics where we will earmark the partnership in the topic text. For 2025, we had already very first discussion. In autumn, the discussions will continue October, November with the member states. Again, another reason to focus now on the work on the RIA. We are also working with the European Innovation Council because I have a proper work program under 2025. And we have also spoken with the future partnership about the idea, how can we make best use of the accelerator program under 2025, and a partnership could actually be perfect if This accelerator program leads to successful SMEs to pick them up, to bring them into their ecosystem for future deployment. And we are working already concretely on a topic in this regard. And we had so far positive feedback from the colleagues here on the private side. A new association. We have the Advanced Materials Initiative, we have the Graphene Flagship, but, and this I would like to put in red, not even in orange, we need newcomers. This is a new kid on the block. It should not be seen like a merger of existing initiatives. We would like to see new people coming in, also the industries coming in and giving us their views. We had structured dialogues also with colleagues in DG GROW, and we see there is a big interest to see advanced materials from a much more horizontal and transversal way, also identifying gaps which have not been looked at by the other partnerships. So we are really, and that will be a key priority for the Commission to judge SRIA and the new association, will there be newcomers? If I can go to the next slide. I was a bit long. These are also expectations. As a strategic research innovation agenda needs to have a long-term vision and a concrete roadmap, concrete, with smart and measurable objectives. I am underlining the term concrete. The basis will be to fund actions by the European Union. I was hinting at the work programs, to have additional activities of private partners. How will you actually add to come in with private investments? I quoted my personal example of technology infrastructure, since I might have many others. We need to have annual priorities in line with the strategic plan for the Horizon Europe. We need a monitoring framework. We need to have collaboration, synergies, coherence with other initiatives, with other EU partnerships, with other programs. This will be a lot of work, and the time will be short. We expect SRIA coming back to us fully fledged end of September. If you think how will this fit together with setting up an association in October, and why does the Commission expect this end of September? We have to take this SRIA later on to work on an MOU with this new association. So as I said, it's like not square the circle, but cut the corners and work together, be co-creative, follow attentively also this workshop. If we can go to the next slide. So let's be clear what is covered. Advanced materials. We have a lot of discussion, and I hope we are not getting lost in definitions, the OECD definition. We are speaking here about intentionally designed and engineered materials to have new or enhanced properties and or targeted or enhanced structural features. So we are looking at functional performances, and this is another word for the term needs. Materials should perform for a given function. What needs will they meet? Only in the second step you come in with, is it about graphene? Is it about nanomaterials? Is it about nanotechnologies, composite materials? They should serve a certain function. And advanced materials should be broad. It can be new emerging materials, high-tech materials. It can also be materials that are manufactured from traditional materials, the low-tech materials. Okay, not steel, but nevertheless, we are covering a broad range. And these are our expectations also to work on with this SRIA. If we can go to the next slide. You have these examples. We have shown them also to press. I will not go through them, but I might answer some questions that we are already looking in a very broad way on this. And we can be very ambitious. New materials beyond silicon. This is about research, the next generation of chips technologies. Sodium-ion-based batteries, we know them, but is there something in? We have microcapsules in absorbing and reflecting light in construction. We have metallic nanoparticles. We have graphene. We have many other opportunities. So this is coming back to my point is SRIA needs to be concrete. If we can go to the next slide. What drives the Commission? And this is like bridging the gap now to the advanced materials communication. When you sit together and you think carefully, what is the ultimate landing zone? What is the ultimate goal? And I think we are facing two fundamental or big issues. First is the geopolitical context. We are no longer open to the world. We have a huge debate on critical raw materials. Do we have a similar debate for advanced materials? Yes. And the second reason for this is not only the geopolitical context. The second reason is the Green Deal will continue. And now it's not only about decarbonizing production technologies. Now you need to build the Green Deal. Hydrogen, okay, you will have hydrogen pipelines. Which materials are needed? The mobility, the aeroplanes will look like completely different. Which materials are needed? You have plenty of examples in this regard, and this will lead to an increasing demand for advanced materials in Europe, which should also come from Europe. So research and industry should help. That's a big issue. The other one, and this is equally a journey, and we will be patient, but the journey has to start. We need a single materials ecosystem, one materials ecosystem. We have excellent initiatives. AMI, we have 4 technology platforms, which helped us in the preparation of AMI. We have the graphene flagship. I have the nano safety cluster. I have a Malta initiative. I have a Meranet. I have a graphene flagship in Eranet. We need one materials ecosystem. The people need to work together. If we are not working together, we cannot tackle the first big issue. How can we actually meet the demand for advanced materials in Europe? It has to go hand in hand. And this is a journey, and it's not an easy journey. But sometimes I'm getting also comments, oh, who is cooperating with whom? How should cooperate work? The ultimate goal for the Commission is clear: one materials ecosystem for Europe. This is where we have to go, and it will require patience on all sides. The second point I would like to make, and there we get challenging questions, more private investments, and maybe we go to the next slide. How many patents we have in Europe? What is actually the investment trend? In terms of investments, less than half than what is happening in the United States on advanced materials. This is a clear message. So we face a similar phenomenon like in many other technologies, that on the private investment side, be it corporate venture capitalists, can it be banks, would it be big companies, there are much more investments in the US compared to the EU. And this can only happen if you're one materials ecosystem and a clear articulation of what are the needs, why do we need private investments? We would like to meet a certain demand. Therefore, EuStria should also be an encouragement. Okay, now as an investor, I know where the line will be, where they want to go in the future. That gives me incentive also to review my investments. This is not a small issue, it's also a big issue. I've not to quote you how many chemists or advanced materials sit in a venture capital company. You don't find them. They need guidance, they need a clear view. If we can go to the next slide. Thank you. The advanced materials communication. Now let me come to the political context. This is the second point of my agenda. We have 5 pillars in the advanced materials communication, published end of February in all EU languages. So you can read it in Polish, in Czech, in Portuguese, in Spanish, in Italian, in Swedish. You can read it there. And we have 5 pillars. And I can tell you this should not be seen like a butterfly. We are working on many fronts, and the partnership is one element of it. Therefore, this presentation is also relevant for those who would like to contribute to the partnership. Let me go to the next slide. The needs for advanced materials. So we want not only a European partnership under Horizon Europe, we also would like to co-create with member states what they should do on advanced materials. What are the needs? We have chosen, and this is a quite intensive debate, energy, mobility, construction, electronics as first priority areas. It's a starting point. Many people will ask what should happen on health, etc., etc. All fair questions, but if you would like to identify objectives and priorities, you need to start somewhere. And you need also to know what are the industry needs for new advanced materials in energy, in mobility, in construction, and electronics. So we will also be working on R&I needs for substituting of critical raw materials. This would be not for this partnership. We will be working with the Joint Research Center. but it's an action where preparatory steps have already been taken. And I'm pretty sure we'll also reach out to this partnership and other players to inform of what is going on. If we can go to the next slide. Lab to Fab. It's one thing to have designed a new advanced materials. It's in the laboratory, you have great feelings, and then it comes to the world of materials. And you recognize you have invested many years in designing such an advanced materials in a laboratory. And in many years, we need to change. In a global context, this is really a game changer if we are able to find a digital infrastructure which should help support researchers and industry to design advanced materials, exchanging data, using data, not only storing data, to develop them. We have two big projects going on in Europe, Diadem and Material Digital in Germany. So this is something where we would like to accelerate the design of advanced materials. This is the lab. We have also technology infrastructures where in particular SMEs should be able to test their ideas and find the testing equipment. We have currently 28 open innovation testbeds available. I'm offering you a funding opportunity. These testbeds exist in Europe. We would like to build a single entry catalog available to you, to the stakeholders at large, which services you could can ask for. This should come next year, and we're already working on it. So if we can have more technology infrastructure via this partnership, it would be fantastic, because this is what needed also to exchange and to facilitate the exploitation of the innovations in advanced materials. If I can go to the next slide. The Horizon Europe partnership. You're 1 out of 14 actions. And why have been put under the pillar 3, capital investment finance? We expect also private investments, so 250 million euros. So the Commission was not limiting itself to the fact that we have a strategic plan under Horizon Europe for a newer partnership. We express publicly the expectation that industry and others will come in with private investments of 250 million euros. I recall what I said in my earlier slide. This is a lot of money and it needs to be spent well. And I hope that the strategic research innovation agenda gives us, the Commission, but also maybe investors, an idea what could be done. And I'm sure many things could be done. Capital investments, the important projects of common European interest are less for research. We are currently working with the member states. It's up to the member states to launch such an important project of common European interest. We have a forum with member states, and Austria is currently taking the lead on developing first idea on an IPCI on advanced materials. Another important signal for investors if this would be coming. We are working with the European Innovation Council. You see an example what happened under the work program in 2024. And here would like to launch also a call under the work program 2025. It will be out in September. Again, a signal for venture capitalists and other investment funds. The Commission is going into non-bankable SMEs, is helping to accelerate the SMEs in their innovations. We are also coming up with STEP, and we are working currently on the fact whether the calls we are planning for 2025 could also be earmarked as STEP relevant, and are optimistic that this is going to happen. Definitely for an EIC topic, we are also currently examining what could be done under the work program 2025. If we can go to the next slide. Thank you. We start working with the public procurers. Pre-commercial procurement may be a topic in 2025. We'll be launching an Advanced Materials Academy, where we expect the partnerships also to make contributions. The idea is to use existing knowledge innovation communities, and we expect the EIT in Budapest to launch a call in September, and that we can launch an Advanced Materials Academy, because we see a lot of need for skills and to look at the skill set. This will not replace what is happening at universities. I would like to repeat, this is not replacing what is happening at universities. They remain in charge of developing the CVs, the curricula, but what we would like to offer are packages where we see a need for adaptation, for something new. If you move to the world of circular economy, for materials highly relevant, when you move to the world of digitization, AI, what does this mean for students and for the workforce in terms of the skill set? So that actually in future member states, but also the industry, get an offer in terms of skill packages. And we are working on this quite intensively. We would like to start work also with Sensenelec on standardization. And we will also launch a study on the production and use of available advanced materials, because we have not a clear idea of, we have spent more than 1 billion euros under Horizon 2020. If you ask me what is now going on the markets for advanced materials, many will tell you, I can give an answer on the different products, but on the advanced materials behind, we do not know. And that we need to change also for the future, to have a clear idea on the future needs and the future gaps for advanced materials. There will be an external study starting in late autumn. Let me come to the last point, the Technology Council for Advanced Materials. This is the next slide, please. Thank you. This is the last action. What is this Technology Council for Advanced Materials? This is another new kid on the block. We would like to have a discussion with member states and with high-level stakeholders on strategic choices which influence the European work programs, but also national programs. What are the future needs we are facing? There is a Commission decision of the 5th of July, and a new high-level group has been set up via Commission decision. A call for applications has been launched, and the deadline is the 9th of September. If we can go to the next slide.
Jürgen, you're muted.
Yeah, because I have something going on in my voice, but I will carry on. So you see here, the 27 member states should be represented here. We expect high-level academics, association representatives, industry representatives to come in with their views. What are the future needs? So it should be a forward-looking debate, and how actually to bring also the one materials ecosystem I was speaking really together. We will have the associated countries related to Horizon Europe. They will come in with an observer status. So this is not a decision-taking body. It will not be a program committee deciding on topics for the work programs. It should be very much a coordination group, a group for exchanging information. So if one country is not strong in advanced materials in given areas, they should learn, oh, another member state is very strong. This is what actually I need. I want to cooperate. Do we have a good and consistent package of advanced materials across the 6 clusters under Pillar 2? That should be the purpose of this Technology Council. Next slide, please. These are the tasks we envisage. All this is available on our website. So I will not go through this in detail. You can read it. And that brings me actually to the end of my presentation. I'm probably far beyond the timing, but Andrea, I felt it's really important to give you real-time information that people reflect and engage with you in this partnership to get also the big picture. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jürgen, for the presentation. And no, you're correct to use as much time as needed, because this is basically a last, let's say, a key chance for everybody to bring their questions to you. Jürgen, please keep your camera on, because you're still on the stage. And we are now going to receive a few questions. We start from one point that you already touched upon, but I mean, it's better we get it out of the way in a very explicit manner. Can you comment on materials for health? Will it be covered by the partnership, or this will be fall through the cracks?
It will not fall through the cracks. What I was presenting to you is for our strategy to have a staged process. So for this year, we would like to have a discussion with the member states on the 4 priority areas I was mentioning. Because if you have a discussion on needs at a certain time, sorry for taking a very managerial attitude, you need to manage in steps. Because the next step will also be, we would like to identify more the transferability of the innovations, the instruments we use. So health is not out, you can come in, but you need to look across priority areas where it matters. You should not come now just with specificities and then let the Commission judge also there's a biotech communication coming out and what is the borderline. That matters, okay?
Thank you. I know Jérôme also wanted to comment on this question. So Jérôme, if you want to add something, you can now, but you are off. Yeah.
No, just to add that indeed health and other application sectors are also being targeted by the initiative. And what matters really is to push these innovative advanced materials and their associated technologies in a transversal manner to more than one application sector. But health is indeed in the scope of the initiative.
Yeah. But come in with your views on health, Andrea, but think about what is the impact of your research also for other areas. That's the key question you have to answer. So if you want to change a molecule, fine, but think whether you change a molecule for health, is it also relevant for other areas? That's the key question. Okay.
Thank you. So we go to the next question is a bit technical for you. What is the openness of the initiative to associated countries that have a EEA agreement with the EC contributing to the budget on the basis of GDP and not on the pay-as-you-go model adopted by other associated countries?
Let me be brief on associated countries. They're expressly flagged in the communication. We are open to this. They will even get an invitation also to the Technology Council, and they have not yet got the letters. The letters will come. Associated countries, this is a matter for the private association also to decide whether to have members from such an associated countries. They're associated, they're coming in with budgets, they would like to see advantages. I will not embark on the complex world of Article 22, paragraph 5 of Horizon Europe. Now, Andrea, I'm getting technical, that we are living in a world of strategic dependencies. And for instance, something like, you have sometimes particular Asian countries where we have to watch. Japan, where we have actually an enhanced dialogue, is a completely different story compared to China. But we are living here geopolitical context. So when it comes to future work programs, if not to quote your Quantum, which is a famous case, there will be limitations, yeah? And that we cannot preclude, yeah? That would be then for the future work programs. But associated countries are, of course, welcome.
Yes, I can add that associated countries are welcome to the association, and this will be presented in the second part of the session today. Another question again, Jürgen, can you comment on the coordination of this initiative with EIT and KIC communities? I think you had a point in your slides, but please can you come back to this? I think we lost Jürgen. Jürgen, are you back? Yes, you are muted.
I had an outside, a high-level person in front of my door, and I couldn't slap the door. Apologies to all. You're getting here to know everything in real time.
You were saying hello to Ursula. So
yeah, no, that's for you, Andrea.
Okay, exactly.
Good, Andrea, if you can repeat the question, because I've
so the question is, how will this initiative coordinate with EIT and KIC and their communities?
Okay. I give you maybe a good example. I'm going to manufacturing. I have a Made in Europe partnership with even an agreement with EIT on manufacturing. They're looking for synergies. So I have gone so far that certain topics can be topped up later on by course of the KICs. We don't have a KIC on advanced materials. So I'm not asking now that you set up a KIC on advanced materials. But under the advanced materials communication, the KICs, and I hope several KICs, will allow us to help us on the Advanced Materials Academy. So in substance, I would expect also from the association you are setting up to channel news, needs on advanced materials as regards the skill set. The other point, and this is not linking it to the KIC itself, but to be honest, you have member in the KIC who also member here in the association, which is normal. So, which serves different purposes. But we aim for good links, etc. And it's a matter of synergies, but they're separate entities with separate functions. But there, I think a partnership with advanced materials could have actually a good impact in general on all the KICs to raise the profile there. Okay.
So if I may add, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think we need to see the association, the IMI that will be presented later, as a sort of the community representative, as a counterpart of discussion with all the relevant bodies and other, including other partnerships.
Yeah. Well, the KICs are a partner of such an association. And you can identify needs, you can find ways also maybe that their calls are more linked to the calls you are working on. That would actually be welcome. We have 3 years only because we have the second half, but cooperation, synergies, agreements, all welcome. That's a good idea. Yeah. And we are not focusing on a particular KIC. No, it can be several KICs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And let me comment on your 3 years only. 3 years only, but our hope is to continue in FP10. I think we can say that. We strongly hope to continue in FP10.
Yeah, but Andrea, the more creative, the more innovative you have to be on this partnership. The big advantage you have, and let me maybe make such a statement still, it is not something where everybody says, but we know this partnership since 12 years. What's their value added? You are a new kid on the block. You organize something before an association has been set up. If you manage, you can create such a fantastic momentum. And there will be, and with new ideas, I see a strong potential for really continuing because you have the momentum, and the expectation.
Thank you. And this leads nicely to the next question, that is how to join, but we will cover how to join to the next part. So I will skip it for now. Then we have a kind of a blunt question. So
go ahead.
What do private investors get back from their investment? Will they get equity, license to IP, access to tools or equipment? So essentially, what do we get back once we invest our part?
Okay, I'm not now the project coordinator, but to be honest, I'm happy to pass a blunt question also to the partnership. What is the industry willing to offer here? Because I quote you just 2 examples. If you think under FP10, we will have a policy, you finish a project and you disseminate the results, that will be over. We'd like to see concrete measures on how do you harvest your knowledge, how you valorize, how you make best use of it. So that will be a push in the projects. And if this SRIA could make also suggestions in this regard, how to reach out to investors in this regard, for me, it would be spot on. I'm here now spontaneous, it would be spot on. So the blunt question is spot on, because what the capital markets needs are messages from the public side. You have the European Innovation Council, who's actually de facto leveraging private investments after they invest into equity of 3 to 4. We know it from good parts of the work programs, with the classical work programs that you can leverage, in particular for SMEs. We would need a strong signal also from the industry in this partnership. Yes, we have concrete ideas with concrete investments in the next 3 years, and don't tell me that big companies are not doing investments. So you can send strong signals also to the capital markets. And SRIA is for me a perfect opportunity to say, here is the way to go. So I'm happy to pass a blunt question back to you, Lars, Andrea, and Jerome.
I will let Lars address this in the second part, but it's important to hear.
It's a very important question.
Exactly, it's the key question actually for today's meeting.
I get it very often in meetings, if I may say. I get it very often in meetings, and there we need the help also of this community, because there's a lot of private law IPR. Yeah.
Yes. In terms of the Technology Council, we have a couple of questions that are similar. Associated countries, you already said they can be observer. The letter has not gone out, it will go out. But what about the second slide about experts and stakeholders? Can those be applying for this call to be an expert in the Technology Council, even if they belong to associated countries, or is the expert call only limited to member states?
Oh, that's a very targeted question. I'm not ruling out anything in this regard. So the answer is they can apply. What will happen, however, is that there will be a quite rigorous selection process because I expect many applications, and I hope we're getting, and it will depend a lot on top class quality. So they said, because what you need, if you allow me, this is my dream scenario from the industry, is CTO telling you, this is all very nice, but my thinking in 5 years goes already in this direction. The same with an academic world, the same with a major association saying, look, this is all good, but we need to go there. Or if there's a big gap, actually in research, I say, we have to fill this gap. This is what we need. So it's high level. Yeah.
So basically, if I can summarize, anybody can apply from both member state and associated countries, and you will look very carefully at the CV, yes, the experience, the level, and the visionary aspects for this.
The call for expression of interest is very detailed in this regard and gives all the necessary information. It's available on the website, and on my last slide, you see the link to this website.
Yeah, I think this comes because there is a list of countries in the call, but we can discuss it later. Okay, link to this, but is an easy answer that I can give. Are there any limitations for the countries to join? And as mentioned, both member state and associated countries can join. And then there are some very specific details that maybe we can discuss offline if you send the questions to info@IMI. The other question is, how can the community engage with the Advanced Material Academy? And are you saying that we need to prepare to apply for the call to be launched, or will this be already run by EIT in the September 24?
Okay, let me explain you 3 steps. Under an amendment to the work program 2024, and this call is publicly available, we have reserved a seed funding of 10 million euros for the Advanced Materials Academy. So if you scroll in the text of the work program amendment published on the 18th of April, you find a reference to this. The process is then that we will transfer the budget to the EIT in Budapest, who has to launch a call. The EIT will launch a call amongst all available KICs. It will follow the model of the Batteries Academy, of the Net Zero Industry Academies. It will be the same pattern. We will work together with the EIT also that this is not getting a kind of closed shop, but that there are decent proposals, then the budget is allocated, but the decent proposals will also face on a large and very clear consultation processes with all stakeholders, that people feel that can come in. It can be targeted stakeholders like the partnership, but also universities at large. So it should be a very inclusive process. The seed funding is foreseen for 4 years, and then we see whether the idea is taking off. That's the process. So the KICs should make a proposal. It can be several KICs. Actually, alive several KICs working together, co-creation. And the second step, when setting this up, I'm now blunt, Andrea, no promotional videos you can buy. It should be hard work and a good skills package where students and material science and also the existing workforce feel that is something really what I'm missing. And I'm pretty sure many SMEs and also universities will be grateful for this. That's the plan.
Okay, thank you. The next question I can answer. So they ask if PFAS replacement will be within the scope as well as advanced materials for electronic packaging. And the answer is clearly yes for both. I just also want to qualify one point that I often have to qualify. Based on the Commission definition, electronics includes electronics, but also photonics, optoelectronics, and there is a mention of quantum technologies as well. So it's a broad area, and the way you contribute is to engage with the Association for the SRIA as will be discussed later.
Yeah, maybe one word on PFAS, Andrea,
Mhm.
and I'm happy
Yeah.
to give this real-time information.
Yeah.
PFAS is relevant in many application areas. I will not recap now the current ongoing regulatory debate with ECHA and with the member states, and DG Environment is in charge. Our current thinking is to plan a wave of PFAS topics. We means what? Different services on the Commission. You have a discussion under the CHIPS joint undertaking. You will have a discussion on the joint undertaking on health, IHI. You have a discussion in the circular bio-based economy. So I would not use this partnership to find now the panacea for the PFAS issue, which is a bigger issue. We're also planning a topic, it might be outside this partnership, also to get the regulators involved. Yes, PFAS could be concerned, but for us, I'm again looking at my debate about which needs do we need to fulfill, in which application area you think you can contribute that you can replace PFAS. Because replacing PFAS for an electrolyzers will not help you in replacing PFAS in chips. Unless, Andrea, you can prove me I'm wrong. It's not going to work like
No,
that.
I was going to say, unless somebody comes up with an innovative advanced material that can do this.
That's a challenge for the SRIA. If you come up with
Exactly.
this, it would be wow.
In which case, people will be very happy. So
That
yes,
would be wow.
starting with Jürgen. Okay, we can go to the next question, again, a bit technical, but it's important to have a clear answer. How is the partnership going to collaborate with in terms of beyond Europe cooperation? So I think this means beyond associated countries, beyond countries that have agreements, in particular with critical material suppliers that could be used to support EU-based development. So how do you see these international collaborations, if any?
Okay, maybe I give you a few hints also for the developing of this SRIA. In 2021, the Commission published a communication called The Global Approach, where is actually a priority in which we, and I can send you the link later on, it actually means that we need to have a much more tailored approach to international cooperation. Not we are open to the world, and we are cooperating with 100 countries and closing the eyes on what is happening. Second point, if you think there should be more cooperation with the strategic partnerships on critical raw materials, fine, but you have to explain, well, advanced materials are not critical raw materials. There's a big difference. The third one is we spoke a bit associated countries. I would like also to highlight that Commissioner Ivanova has been in Japan. Early April, there have been press releases announcing an enhanced dialogue with Japan. So we are currently discussing with Japan, and our target might be that also Japan offers calls on advanced materials. This is a very ambitious agenda, but I would like, since this is publicly available, also think what we can do with Japan. And it will be a long-standing agenda, we all know. But in a geopolitical context, Japan is not so far away where we stand. So there is lots of public announcements. So Japan would be also an interesting feature for the SRIA, what could be done if. But, and we push it quite early. We'll see what will be, how much we can be clearer on the corporations. There will be a big conference in Kyoto, the STS, early October. We have to see. But Japan is high on our list.
Thank you. I will skip questions that are basically praising you, Jürgen, for the good presentation.
No, don't do it. I would like to praise the SRIA. I would like to praise the SRIA at the end of September. That's the challenge.
Yeah, that's what we hope. I mean, receiving a praise from you will be very high in our expectations. But let's go to the difficult questions. So let's go to another one that is kind of technical but important. Can you define what you mean by materials ecosystem in your presentation? Is this an organization or is another kind of concept? What are the key functions that you believe this material ecosystem has to fulfill? And also, who receives the output of this materials ecosystem that you mentioned in the PowerPoint?
Okay. I will shock you, Andrea. I'm a lawyer by background, but I didn't expect so many legal questions. I do not expect an organization. I expect, and that is the important message I want to give, we have different systems working together, informal, very successful one. But I think we need to go beyond the thinking. In my ecosystem, I have a very good network, and this I'm happy with this. This will not serve us the ultimate goal that we identify and deal with the needs on advanced materials for Europe. This is like, if you allow me, we have not an open discussion round on a big issue, but you have one room where you have one initiative with closed doors, another room with a closed door on another initiative, and it might be on a different feature of, and don't take this as a criticism in terms of nano or graphene. This is what we don't need for Europe. And this was coming out from the Materials Manifesto from February 2022. It's a clear message. We need one materials ecosystem that people really work together. This is what I would like to convey. So please do not come with a charter for, we need to work together. And the partnership is a great tool, and the technology council should be another tool. And this is a journey. This will not, it's not just wishful thinking. There are lots of discussions going on, but I would like to underline, this is what the Commission is after. People working together across the different disciplines for the benefit of advanced materials.
Thank you. So there's a question on the slides. Yes, they will be made available. I guess, Jürgen, we can also share slides.
These
So
are my personal slides. Yeah, this is not, these are my personal slides. Yeah, okay.
They will be made available on the website of IMI that will be introduced later on by Lars. And there will also be a communication, a press release today about this. We already discussed the selection of the representative in the Technology Council, so I can skip that. There is another technical questions on feedstock providers for biomaterials and biomanufacturing. Are those areas that should be considered? I will first ask Jürgen to comment.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to go too much into detail.
Okay.
But let me answer this. I think there is a given overlap. There is a given overlap if you look into health and bioeconomy. And the overlap is expressed in the communication advanced materials and on the communication on biotech and biomanufacturing by a political phrase asking for complementarity. The challenge we will face when it comes to biomaterials, which of the actions, for instance, would also serve biomaterials when it comes to the world of advanced materials. So we should not go for any artificial splits. We should look at the actions, what we envisage, is this relevant for biomaterials? But the key point is the term advanced materials, and you should be aware that on biotech, on biomanufacturing, a specific strategy is out. There will be a follow-up action early next year. So if you do not find the way here into this partnerships, there will be other ways forward in this regard. So it's not a yes or no, it is case by case. And for instance, the digital infrastructure, should bio-based materials in, yes or no? Okay. Substitution of critical raw materials, if you have bio-based materials, could be relevant. But
Exactly.
case by case. And on health, you have to forgive me when it comes to changing the molecules. As a partnership needs to help me. Okay, if you change a molecule for health, does it matter also for energy? I'm a bit provocative, Andrea.
Exactly. So I think this is now clear. We then have another few questions that we already covered, but a recurrent one, probably will send you an email later, is about the fact that the form for the Technology Council has a list of countries, but not the associated ones. And so people have a issue applying, but I will send you an email. I did notice this as well.
I would suggest, Andrea, at the end of my presentation, you have my email address. So people send these letters to me because these are different questions. I have not to come to you. So you find my email address at the end of the presentation. You can contact me afterwards. Yeah.
Yes, and now let's go to an very important question. Can industrial players suggest topics aligned with real needs to leverage the developments that could be applied in other industrial sectors? And I think, Jürgen, you will like this question.
Yes. Do so. No, but I think we are not ignorant. We have seen what is happening in big companies. All of a sudden, advanced materials matter. Why do they matter? the industry starts thinking also where does it go to the future. They're transforming their business models. And that's what we need really in this area, to know more leading examples of big companies, also smaller companies, changing their business models to adapt themselves to a new world, the Green Deal, and actually discovering new markets. The Materials 2030 manifesto, which I mentioned, already identifies innovation markets. The term innovation market is, if the industry sees a future market and needs an advanced materials, they should go for it. They should explain it here. This is actually what this RIA should be about. Yes, I like the question, Andrea, to summarize.
And if I can add, I think the two keywords are de-risking and leveraging. Maybe addressing to the why would an industry be interested in this? The EC money can help de-risk and can certainly leverage other activities. I would say that these are the two keywords when it comes to industrial collaboration.
De-risk, give me an example, circular economy. Many people tell me this is actually the next, it's a technology challenge actually coming out. Many companies will tell me, I'm getting prices on circular economy projects, but if later on I would like to sell it to a client, I have to explain to the client it costs 5 or 10% more. I spare you the answer. This is about de-risking. So if circularity should go into the topics, that's a message we need to get to de-risk, because a company doesn't want to take the full investment. And there we can help. I'm conscious that you have big companies with larger research budgets every year than what we have, but don't take it like a drop in the ocean. It can really help also in terms of publicity, in terms of success stories. Leveraging can help. We are working with other partnerships also sometimes on a deployment agenda. This means this is not yet for this partnership, but I have others where we actually engage on what does this mean with the innovation fund. Leveraging, I'm also mentioned STEP, the STEP platform, which will be highly relevant. And this is actually, you can find in the whole section on access to capital. And if the companies can send a strong message on private investments coming out of this partnership, it's also a leveraging effect. Yeah.
And maybe let's add what you already presented, that the discussion with the EIC will target actions for SMEs. Yeah. And there will be hopefully a very significant pot of money put towards this.
There we leverage actually. We leverage money from the EIC, yeah, for the benefit also of investors and SMEs. Yeah.
So the other question, I think, is something that you also are very interested in promoting, Jürgen, is the question of innovative model for collaboration on digital sharing of data on advanced material, and what is the plan? And also there is a second part of the question, what about the monetization of the data? That maybe is in contradiction with the sharing, but I'll let you address this digital part.
In the past, I would have said there's a contradiction.
Now there isn't.
No, but I take the project like Big Map on batteries. There, the data are not held within the company. They see a need for exchanging data because they're not can cope with this on their own. First phenomenon in a big company. And the other, you take another big company who say we are sitting on billions of data and we don't know what to do with them. This is also actually a lost asset. So what we're aiming for, and that's the term materials commons for this digital infrastructure, to find a framework where people see a good reason to exchange data, metadata probably, and then you look at the details. But when we start exchanging metadata, you need to define a framework. And products, you have other models, which you have Catena X or Gaia X. I don't preach now this should be copied, but materials commons is a model where we in a systematic and framework can exchange data. First point. So you need also not only the technical interoperability, you need an understanding under which conditions you want to change data. This is for me the second step. We had projects like Onto Commons and others. We have some national projects I was quoting. This is Diadem and also the Materials Digital in Germany who are testing this. So we have 3 stages where we are start working on. Step 1, we need to have more data infrastructures and advanced materials in Europe. And here we would like to oblige the member states to take much more action. The second step is we need to have an understanding with the stakeholders on the materials comments, which data should be interoperable and what is the legal framework so that people feel it's a good way for exchanging data and I'm not losing something on a competitive edge. And the third one on the digital infrastructure, we will need to build a sustainable long-term infrastructure for hosting these data. It's a huge and ambitious project, but I think those who knows US universities, whatever from Texas, 100 LOs per week, yes, this is happening. This is happening. We need to think that this will be a real game changer for which we need the industry interesting in such a model, interesting for pushing for digital tools, and we need the industry also for pushing for such a digital infrastructure. A few years ago, we had a debate on Gaia X. Everybody knows it was an alternative, something else. And it would be great to get a big push from the industry also. This is something which you would like to see in Europe. And I know from some informal discussion, this kind of discussion, what to do with my data, how to use them in Europe, yes or no, they're going on in the big companies. Here in this area, you have a tool to come in with your views. And what are your wishes? A long-term issue in my view as well, not only for 3 years, but it has to be said now.
Yes, so to say digital will be key in the work, but also AI and machine learning applied to advanced materials. This initiative sees as crucial this contribution, including not just for the materials passport, but also for the discovery and testing.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. We will work with EOSC, of course, but we want to go beyond EOSC. We would like really to have a system where we use the data. It's very ambitious, but you know, sometimes the commission is, if we do not start being very ambitious, we will never start. So let's start now. And the jury is already out in the work program 2025, and your partnership can be really make here a game-changing proposals, yeah?
Another question is mostly for us. During the preparation of the proposals, can we, is it possible to be put in contact with other SMEs and industries that tackle the same issue? The answer is yes. And in fact, we are already doing so. Just yesterday, I put in contact 2 extremely large companies who are actually attending today because they have common interests. And we want to be the conduit of these interactions that are crucial to prepare the proposal.
Andrea, I'm coming back to my term, identify the needs. When you identify the needs, you will all of a sudden see maybe a business case. And on this need, I would like to share the data. Because it's not only an issue for me, it's an issue for many other companies as well.
Yes, and that's, in fact, if you share the needs, is a very good thing for us.
Batteries, we all know it. We all know
it.
Yeah.
Tell us what you need, and that's what we want you to tell us. And the other question is, again, startups and very small companies are crucial for innovation, especially in advanced materials. And so, but they do often require more support than large companies. How are we going to give a sort of some particular additional help for SMEs and startups? We already mentioned this EIC call that will only target SMEs and startups with a significant budget. I don't know if Jürgen, you want to say numbers?
Yeah, I think, no, I'm not giving you numbers, but it's significant and it's checked also by the EIC board. But the EIC board is also the platform to discuss, is there a case for SME? So they are very critical in this regard. So if the amount is budgeted and is seen in September, you will see. The point I would like to make, the partnership could also be a great opportunity to harvest startups and spin-offs. First, you have startups and spin-offs coming out of topics. We have this. But the other point, working more with the European Innovation Council, they have so-called business acceleration services. They're organizing big corporate days so that startups can turn up. And if the partnership would say, in future, we would like to work with the EIC, we can organize corporate days. Let the startups come, let them explain what we do. And then we close the door and the big company says, I will engage with this startup. A partnership is a great opportunity to facilitate this, an additional activity, how we call it, like technology infrastructures. Can you offer a bit more on this business acceleration services for startups, for SMEs coming out of the EIC? Fantastic subject. And if large corporates would join it, we offer them something which they may have in-house, but they would like to have maybe additional alternatives.
Okay, thank you. We have 3 last questions that I think is worth taking because they are all 3 very important, and then we will close with Jürgen. So the first question is about regulation. There is a feel in industry that the EU regulatory agencies can put increasing demands, and this can push innovation abroad. So is there a way to address this within this initiative?
Well, I think I don't want to appear now defensive, but the regulators will not be part of the partnership. But if you look into the advanced materials communication, and particularly the part dealing with the industry production use of advanced materials, would like to launch activities on standardization, because standardization can clarify many things, in particular the issue of inconsistency. I don't know whether this partnership would like to contribute to the standardization work, yes or no, because the industry knows better than me. The devil is often in the detail. You find an inconsistency, which is not deliberate, which is just happened by accident, and standardization can help. So there is a way, but we will not deal directly with the regulators. On the other hand, where the regulators can come in when it comes to the risk assessment, in particular of nanomaterials, this is the Malta initiative, and it would be actually good to find also a place for them that regulators on nano safety start interacting with the industry more. The regulators will have the final say, but to find a good way of interacting would actually be great. What are the industry needs? And what are the limitations for later on when it comes to the nano safety issues? So we will not solve the issue addressed now by the colleague here, but we can, via standardization, but also with a risk assessment on nanomaterials, find good inroads to ease the discussion.
Thank you. And another question that often comes up, what about the defense sector needs?
That's an interesting one. I remember many years ago, you had a Russian minister telling me, next question, please. I will not go so. This is, I think, a big debate also for the next commission, how we will deal with defense and defense capacity. We know the issue about metamaterials. We know the materials where you have a harsh environment where they can solve. This will be for the coming debate under the next commission. What will be the interaction between advanced materials now and the future? You should be aware that on dual use and defense, we have a clear separation between Horizon Europe and what's happening in defense. That should be respected. And then we have to see also in future how to deal with defense, but it will be a big priority for the future. But please respect the current delineation between Horizon Europe and Defense Fund as a European Defense Program, which are separate programs. Yeah.
But I mean, I think we can all agree that defense has a great need of innovative advanced materials.
Yes,
and
obvious.
They
yeah.
can, yeah.
We need to find a political channel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the final question, also very crucial to be addressed properly, and I will read as much as possible. So advances in materials also cover well-established materials, such as steel, aluminum alloys, nickel, and composites. And the companies working in this established material invest significantly in material development, improvement of properties, and so on. However, it appears that these materials and companies are being overlooked in this program. And maybe, Jürgen, you can, this is a common question, I would say.
Yeah, no, it's a very good question. I think I don't want to enter in our debate what are advanced materials, but I'm focusing a lot on the design of advanced materials. So the center of gravity is on the design and not on the processing. The processing is important. The second point is, I think since you quote steel, I have a Clean Steel Partnership. So, and this is a lot also about research on steel and what is around. We have even a research fund for coal and steel, which we are promoting. In my view, that's much more a discussion between the links between existing partnerships and there's new partnerships. Case by case, in my view, we should not push this aside. Also ceramics, which is belonging to the energy intensive industries. There I'm waiting also for a bit some highlights in this RIA, how the articulation can be made. For me, we would like to see that there's no overlap with the 3 years of other partnerships. We have one on Process for Planets, the other one on Clean Steel. Yeah, so those companies should also be invited here to consider, but let's look at a good delineation and synergies at the end and not duplication.
Yes, I would agree with your comments. Now we need to close this part, and I think Jürgen was really nice of you to address so many questions. But in my view, we covered a lot of the most common questions that I've been hearing in the past few months. We have many questions on how to join that we have not addressed, because now we go to the second part, that is actually how to join. And I will start with an extremely brief introduction to the concepts of the SRIA. So Jürgen will have to excuse me that I'm not going into any details. And then most importantly, we are going to go in the second part given by Lars, and he will explain the association. So first, our definition of innovative advanced materials are those materials driving innovation and new technologies. So there are 2 classes. Number 1, enhanced forms of classical materials, and this probably can address the previous question. So enhanced forms of classical materials where the properties are tuned for improved performance in specific application or to enable totally new applications that were previously not done. And second, novel materials enabling improved performance on new applications. So materials that were not in existence before, completely new, that enable improved performance in existing application or completely new applications. Next. So the term innovative emphasizes the commercial potential of these materials or refers to modification, functionalization used to generate novel material or to innovative ways to use classical materials in new applications. We will put this slide online, and so you will be able to go through these definitions and then come back with questions if you have. Next slide. So as discussed, we are now working on the strategic research innovation agenda that will define our actions between 2025 and 2027. That is doing Horizon Europe. As mentioned before, the ambition is much longer, but if we don't fulfill our job in these 3 years, it's difficult to think about the future. So we have a general objective that is to ensure the EU leadership in advanced materials innovation and the industrial competitiveness in strategic market, in particular addressing the twin green and digital transition, and more specific objective on development of innovative advanced materials and associated technology, cross-enabling tools and methodologies, and also the ecosystem enablers and synergies, bringing to a resilient and circular value chain from the birth of the material, even the digital birth of the material when you just simulate it, to the end of life, creating high-end capabilities and getting a robust, comprehensive innovation cycle, going from low to high TRL. That is important when you are doing AI to design a new material. Clearly, that's low TRL. And then when this material is applied in a device on the market, is high TRL. So we cover the entire range. Next. So if you click, so the vision is by 2035, the European industry will be able to develop, produce, and integrate more rapidly innovative advanced materials that meet the increasingly stringent application requirements, the demanding sustainability and circularity constraints, and the shorter technology cycles, leading, so the EU will lead the global innovative advanced material competition. So the mission is to establish and maintain a cross-sectorial, multidisciplinary, collaborative, Europe-wide research and innovation ecosystem that will accelerate the time to market of sustainable, innovative advanced material and associated technology for a digital and circular economy. I know it's kind of a mouthful, but we need to dwell on these sentences because this is really the basis of what we do. We believe that innovative advanced materials are at the backbone of technological progress. They are key in achieving the twin goals of green and digital transition and boosting Europe's competitiveness and sovereignty. If we go to the next slide. So the guiding principles we already covered, and I think we can skip this. And the 4 areas are energy, mobility, construction, and electronics, as already discussed. So we can go to the next slide. And the areas of intervention in the draft SRIA that is being finalized and for which we are more than happy to get your contribution is innovative advanced materials and associated technology for a resilient and circular industrial value chain, high-level capability, cross-enabling tools and methodology. This includes, of course, material modeling, characterization and testing, and so on. And then ecosystem enablers and synergy for a comprehensive innovation cycle, targeting acceleration of the industrial take-up in key application areas and leveraging technology infrastructure. So if we go to the next slide. And in terms of operational objective, we want to get a federated community of stakeholders across the entire value chain. We will produce an updated SRIA in 2027 to look forward to FP10. We want to adopt a sustainable by design, safe and sustainable by design approach in the development of the material. We want to achieve a proof of concept of accelerated design development and integration on safe and sustainable material. We want to work in a circular business model. And we, of course, will need to showcase already by 2027 innovative advanced materials and associated technology that are actually adopted by industry. So again, the needs of industry is what we need to address. And as mentioned before, we will have a keen eye to the participation of SMEs, and Lars will also stress this in the fact that SMEs will have seats at the executive board level and so on reserved for them. And we will, of course, need to contribute to skills and infrastructure and socioeconomic awareness. I stress again, we have this new email address, info@iam-i.eu. This is live as of this morning. And if you then have www.imi.eu is our webpage. The webpage doesn't look particularly flashy. It will be improved in the next few weeks, but all the basis information will be there. And now we go to Lars' presentation.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Can I have the presentation? So now we're coming into more the formalities of this new partnership. Yes, so it's the IMI, as we heard before, right? Very easy to pronounce. So we can take the next slide, which is the beta slide. So this is the governing positions, and what we mean by governing positions are the different boards or groups within the IMI that we need to populate, of course, as soon as we have the association to be launched. And as you see, there is the rather standard, I would say, a General Assembly, we have an executive board, there is a delegation to the partnership board, there is alignment group, working groups, task forces, and association office. And we are right now, just to mention, recruiting the new Secretary General or the Managing Director for this partnership. So if you go a little bit more in detail about this, yeah, you can take the next slide. We have been putting efforts in order to balance between industry and research actors. So we have a kind of distribution of how many seats will you have in these different boards. So the executive board is, of course, an important board. We have 8 seats for industry, 5 seats for research. The delegation to the partnership board that you saw in the previous picture is a bigger number of people, 31 members. And we have 19 seats for industrial and 11 seats for research. So we believe this is a balanced composition between, let's say, the industrial stakeholders, which are primarily high up in the TRL system, and the research stakeholders, which are primarily in the lower TRL, but they are, of course, they are crossing along the TRL level. So next slide, please. So when we speak about company, we differentiate between two different kind of companies: the very large enterprises with contribution, and then the SMEs, which are more smaller. And as you will see in my very last slide, you will see something about the memberships fees. Maybe we should stress that the partnership is a membership fee partnership. So you will become a member, and you or your company or your research institution will pay a fee in order to be a member of this. So it's driven by a private partnership kind of structure. So the company sizes are important. Then we define or differentiate among the, I would say, the three core activity types. One being advanced materials producers, transformers, one being enabling technology providers, and one being the application sectors. So these are the three activity types. If we take the next slide. When it comes to the research stakeholders, we have two categories, if you like. We have the academics, universities typically, and the research and technology organizations. I don't think we need to spend more time on this. We know the differences. So now comes the kind of fee table, and it's just for information, so to say. You see, if we talk about the industries, in the beginning there we have the large, the intermediate, the medium-sized SMEs, the small SMEs, and the micro SMEs. And you see the fees that you need to be paid in order to be a member. So for large industries, we have an annual fee of 10,000 euro. For a micro SME, 750 euro per year. If we go to the research members, we have the RTOs, large, intermediate, medium, and small, with different kind of price schedule as well. All these numbers will be given on the homepage, so you don't need to record it now, right? So, and universities will pay 1,500 euros, and that is for the entire university. When we speak about the associations, we have the NGOs and other stakeholders that can be part of this and pay an annual fee. And then the maybe important thing in the beginning now, new members, 25% of the annual fee for the new members coming in. So if we take the next slide. Yes, the election process, the timeline for this. We have a call now open for members. It's an online application. And we have a call for the governing position, also an online application. It will be on August the 28th. The SRIA validation workshop. You heard Jörgen speaking a lot about the strategic risk innovation agenda, the SRIA, very, very important. So we're having a validation workshop, let's say in the mid-September, where we are actually trying to define what are the, how will the SRIA be articulated. And then the deadline for the governing positions applications is also in the end of September. And the General Assembly, it will be the 21st of October. So we are running quickly, as you may understand. So we from the IMI would say we are open for ask people to join us. The Innovative Advanced Materials Initiative. You can go to our homepage, www.imi.eu, and then you can list yourself to become a member. And we really would like to have members. As Jörgen stressed, we also would like to stress, and we, I mean, the whole group that have been working on these partnerships for years now, is that we stressed that it's open for everyone. So it's an inclusive thing. We need more people. There is not a closed number of people. It's really something that is inclusive, and we're stressing this kind of, let's say, the materials commons or the materials ecosystem. So please join if you have not yet joined, and come and submit your application to joining the process, right? And also, if you have any questions or comments, you can of course also go to sending emails to us, as we discussed before. Can I have the next slide here? Yes. So there is a template now that you can find on the webpage. where you can put down your different kind of views on different things. It's rather comprehensive template. If you go there, you can find it and it will kind of guide you through. So it's like a questionnaire, if you like, which will make us possible for us to kind of aggregate the different thoughts, ideas that is already existing out there in Europe right now. So please go there. You can find it on the WWIMU and then fill it in as soon as you can. The sooner the better. As you know, we are really going very quickly now in time here. So I think that was the last slide here, right? Yes, it was. Okay.
Thank you.
So now,
so,
yes.
Gemma, can you leave the last slide on, please? Because I think it's important. So there were many questions on the website, and it's written here is www.im-i.eu, imi.eu. The website works. If you have any troubles, send an email to Gemma or to us, and we will try to find what the problem is. The website is very basic. All the slides of today will be up on the website after this presentation. And if you go back, Gemma, to the previous slide, is www.imi.eu/become a member. If you click on this link or you type this in your browser, you will be taken to a page where there is a form that you need to fill for membership. I want to stress that no payment will be requested at this point because the association formally starts on the 21st of October, but we need you to subscribe in order to be part of the General Assembly, and the General Assembly will elect the representative in the Executive Board and so on. So I will now pass some questions to Lars. Again, the question is, can you specify how newcomers can join? But I think is
yeah, I think we said it now. I mean, go to the homepage. I would say that is the simple advice, right? If you don't find information that you need, send an email to our email info@imi.eu, and then we will answer and come back to you. I hope this will not be a complication. We really need you all, so please do that.
Okay, I think there is a confusion that one question is the application ending today? No, the 16th of July is when it starts, and it will not end for the next 3 years. However, in order to participate to the General Assembly, you need to be registered before the October 21st. And then we will send to the registered participant information on how to actually participate. So presumably a few days before October 21st, people will need to register. But absolutely, the registration will be continuously open, and you can come in at a later stage. Today is the day when we officially open the registration. Not even me or Lars, we are registered. So after the meeting, we will type in our details to be registered to the new association. So in this respect, it links to another questions. Our organization associated to EMI 2030 automatically member of IMI, and I can add our organization linked to the Grafin flagship automatically member, and the answer is no. This is very important. Every single organization, no matter if you're a member of EMI 2030, if you're a member of the Grafin flagship or to the MIC or EMIRI or whatever, you need to register. This is a very important point. I, myself, and Lars, this afternoon, we will take a few minutes to register ourselves. So not even the two of us are members. Nobody is a member until they register, and this is key. However, I have to stress what Lars already said. It's one registration per organization. And if you are a very large company, and how do we define organization is defined by PIC. So if you have like CNR or CNRS, that will be one registration. If you have some large company with multiple PIC, it could be more than one. But if you have any questions on these administrative details, please come back to Gemma or to us, and we will we will provide information on this.
Just to stress, I mean, you can use this very simple email, info@imi.eu, if you have any questions, right? So please use that, and then
we do expect a lot of questions, of course, about this. What will be the approval evaluation process for the governing board, and will there be a voting process in the General Assembly? So Lars, do you want to address this?
I think maybe you can do that better, Andrea, right?
So there will be a light check on the application to make sure that we don't get some very strange applicants. So we need to at least verify that what is declared is correct. And then the vote will take place in the General Assembly on October the 21st. Everybody will be allowed to vote, but maybe if we go back to a couple of slides, there was a table with, Gemma, can we go back one slide? Another one, this one. So there are a number of seats reserved for each type of organization, industry or research, and within industry for SMEs and so on. So the only caveat is that it's not just the biggest number of votes, but it's the biggest number of votes for a specific type of association. So if you're an SME, you're competing, let's say, against SMEs. If you're a large company, against a large company. If you're a university, against a university. And of course, within each category, the organization, actually the person with the largest number of votes will be elected. And but all of this will be clarified when we will open. And if we go again back to 2 slides forward, on the 28th of August, we will open the call for governing positions, and this will really go pretty much into all the details of how the election is going to take place. So then there is a question, Lars, what is the advantage of being a member? Because at the end of the day, the calls are open to anybody, so why bother?
I think it's super important to be a member, right? I mean, the member gives the chance to articulate your own needs and the interest that you would like to put forward and see to be addressed in the calls, etc. So, I mean, I think everyone should try to become a member, right? I mean, everyone cannot be in the different governing boards, of course, right? But to be a member of the association is very, very important, I think, in order to be able to really benefit fully, as well as contributing, because this is not just a funding source. I mean, this is as we said before, it's an ecosystem that we like to foster, where we need to have people that are inputting things into this system. And then, of course, there will be some funding, but the funding is kind of, I would say, secondary to the creation of a really movement forward to make Europe together and united in this with the innovative advanced materials. So, I mean, I strongly recommend people to become members.
Yes, it's basically the way to define the future of funding. And also, as mentioned before, IMI will be the counterpart for discussions concerning, I don't know, the IPCEI, concerning the Advanced Materials Academy, the EIC funding. So the Commission will interact with IMI for all these questions. So if you're not a member, you're really missing out on shaping the future.
Right. Maybe a comment about, just to further stress that, right? I mean, I think you remember maybe Jürgen Tidius' picture about the 5 pillars. They had a house with the 4 pillars and the roof. So this is a really strong message, right? I mean, it really goes transversal in the Commission, in the all 5 pillars. And this will, of course, be a way to be able to, let's say, contribute to that and all these directions if you are a member. If you're not a member, you're outside, and you can still benefit, of course, as being a part of some application, but the benefit will not be as much as if you are contributing actively. So I recommend everyone that have an interest to really make some difference for Europe in the future to become a member.
So another question, if the meeting on the 21st of October will be online or in person, our strong view is that it should be in person. If this changes, we will let you know. The reason is it's a new association. There will be, of course, food provided and drinks. We really would like to meet in person at least the first time when we have the kickoff. And this General Assembly will be very important. So it's one representative per organization. So if you are a very large university, still you can only send one person. My personal view, our view at the moment is that it should be in person unless something different is decided. I think Lars, you would agree on this because
I agree.
we need to meet at the first General Assembly.
Yeah.
And there will be possibility to delegate the vote if you are not able to attend. And the details will be published on the website. I don't want to go into the details now. There are different ways in which if you cannot attend in person, you can delegate your vote to another representative. So that will be covered. So nobody will miss out if they cannot come, but we will really wish the people to come in person, at least at the first meeting. And will the association be legally established in Brussels? The answer is yes. We discussed many options and eventually we decided to establish it legally in Brussels. And the article of association will be put on the website very soon. And we are probably weeks away from when the legal establishment is done. However, we are already looking for a Secretary General. The advertisement has been out for a while, and the interviews will be at the end of July. So hopefully, if everything goes well, by the end of July, there could be the announcement of the first Secretary General. I don't know if you want to add something on this, Lars.
No, I think it's fine. I mean, it's an ongoing process, and as you say, I mean, by the end of this month or so, we will know. I'm pretty sure about that. I just like to stress this third point here about the SRIA validation workshop, right? I mean, SRIA is really the key thing here. I mean, we are talking about the framework, making the association, etc. But the content of the association, and not the context, but really the content of it, it's really the SRIA. And I urge all of you that have ideas out here today, and your friends and colleagues, etc., to take part and contribute with making the SRIA really become very powerful. And it's all about what Jürgen said about the needs. It's not so much about you have a particular material or material system that can do something. It should be started with the needs. What are the needs? What would we need to develop? And then we will have a very good, strong SRIA.
Yes, and then another two questions that are very important and very common. Before I read them, can we go back to the table with the fees? The one with the fees. So So the question is, if an industry association wants to enter the partnership, can they enter as an association, or all of the members must register separately? And I can address this. As you can see below, there is the category of associate members. So the industrial association or any other association can definitely enter, but they will be an associate member. So my extremely strong advice is that each of the members of this association should register individually if they want to be part of the governing bodies and so on and so forth. But of course, we welcome industrial associations to join. Lars, do you want to add anything on this?
No, I think it comes together with this kind of community building, right? I mean, all the already existing, let's say, different organizations are needed. This is not something to replace things, right? This is something about to coordinate and aggregate what is there in order to make it powerful, and it's for the future of Europe. So.
And the similar question is, governmental organization can become members? Yes, but they will fall under associate members. And we, of course, more than welcome their participation. But when it comes to, let's say, being in the General Assembly, voting, and being in the executive board and so on, you need to register as individual members. Another question, are these fees one-off or annual? And I have to stress these are annual, but I want to clarify these are not per, let's say, universities. This is one fee for an entire university, not per person, not per group, not per institute. So this is a PIC. So each PIC has a fee, and the fee is annual. And this is consistent with how these public-private partnerships are run. And we are one of many other associations that already exist, and is a standard way of operation. So Lars, do you want to add anything on
No,
this?
I think this is maybe the important thing, right? Because many people, specifically at universities, they are part of a department or a research group or something like that. So you need to bring it up in the system, right? Because it has to be the POC of the system that will become the member, the official member, and so please do that, right? I mean, I know sometimes it can be hard to see that you are far away from the rector of a university or something like that, but there are ways to do that through the system. But you need to, I think you need to step up and really talk for the better goods in order to make this happen. And please do that. I mean, it's not very expensive. I think it's very inexpensive to be part, and you will gain a lot by having the chance to actually improve and suggest what the partnership should do.
So there are many other questions that are similar. What about institutes, headquarters, Fraunhofer, Max Planck? The decision is consistent with EU practice. It is defined by your PIC number. So if an organization, no matter how large or small, has one PIC number, that is one registration. If an organization is made up of multiple sub-organizations, each one with a completely different PIC number, they will be able to register. And this is consistent, for example, also for people familiar with the Graphene Flagship, this is how the flagship has operated for forever. And I suppose this is common with other things. So this is clear. And yes, you have only one representative at the General Assembly. However, all the initiatives that the IMI will do will be open to all the participants. So we need to distinguish the General Assembly. I mean, it's kind of, if you are familiar with European projects, there is a General Assembly with maybe the PIs attend, and then there is the work where everybody contributes. So all of the work that we will do, workshops, road mappings, and whatever, conferences and so on, will be open to everybody. But the one-member representative is only for the General Assembly. And then there will be the creation of working group and task forces and so on. And at that point, there will be more than one member attending these sort of actions that IMI will do. So this is again consistent with how all the other association work. And another question is, how is IMI and IM4U connected, and what are the functions? So this is a public-private partnership. So the partnership is IM4U, Innovative Advanced Materials for Europe, and the two ingredients are European Commission and IMI. So IMI is the private association that will sign an MOU and a memorandum of understanding with the European Commission together to essentially implement the vision for IM4U. I don't know if Jürgen or Lars, you want to better explain the relationship, but
I think you did it right. I mean, there is the association that will implement the, let's say, the SRIA that has been developed by the IMI for EU, right? So this is the association that will implement it. So I think that's a good description, right?
And there is another question, if multinational companies can register with more than one legal entity. It all boils down to the PIC. If your company or institution has multiple PIC codes, each PIC can be registered. If you have only one, no matter how big or small you are, it's one single registration. So There are some technical questions on the level of fees for RTOs and industry. I think you can send an email and either Lars or Jem or somebody else will address this. And there is a question on SSBD that I will ask Jerome to address. So we have discussed about an harmonized SSBD approach to innovative advanced material, but there is a lot going on at the OECD level as well as the EC level. So how far will our SSBD approach be harmonized with the OECD, WPNM, and the EC level? Jerome, can you address this?
Yes, so maybe shortly to say that we will be obviously fully inclusive of any initiatives or projects or actions touching on this project. And we will be targeting harmonization for sure. This is one of the objectives set on this topic. But SSBD is clearly a topic we need to cope with all along the industrial value chain, the ones relying on advanced materials, and that will be again touching on OECD's work and outputs for sure, but that will be an inclusive approach. And a cross-enabling one, crossing the different sectors of applications, and also embedding all stakeholders along the innovation cycle. So this is one key topic, obviously, in the initiative, and that is one that will support directly the Green Deal policy.
Okay, then there are some technical questions. When do we need to pay? So now we are not set up to collect fees until after October. So at the moment we will collect the registration. Yes, it's a very tight timetable to go from now to the General Assembly, but as Jürgen said, we are the new kid on the block and we managed to get in at the last 3 years of HE, of the Horizon Europe. So we need to really push hard to meet the deadline. So yes, it is a very short period of time. As soon as the association is up and running legally, people who have registered will be contacted by the administrator yet to be appointed, and the fee collection will start at that point, most likely after the General Assembly. And there are questions like companies are very big. To meet the deadline of the SRIA by August or by September is very tight. Yes, indeed, it is very tight. I have to stress that this work has been going on for almost 1 year or more than 1 year now. Many industrial associations have been contacted, for example, SUSCAM, for example, EMIRI, and many others. So this is not me and Lars sitting in a room and putting everything together. So yes, it's going to be tight, but any contribution is welcome. And as if you can go to the last slide, Lars, of your PowerPoint, if you go on the website, you are able to download these forms. If you want them as a doc file and they're not available, write to write to info@imi.eu and we will respond. If you have any trouble, write to me or Lars directly. We will be able to direct your questions. So you need to bear with us because really today is the first day the website and everything else is on. So there may be some technical glitches, and try to fill these forms and then send them to us, and we will definitely be including this. Maybe Jerome, can you comment on how these forms will be processed and included in the SRIA?
I'm not sure I will get into describing the full template, but hopefully this will be straightforward enough. But clearly we will collect individual inputs from all sides, and we will be consolidating these inputs, then sorting them out depending on which perspective we want to analyze the data from. But that will be a simple consolidation, and then by analyzing this set of inputs, we will draw out the main patterns and the main pictures we can on the industrial needs we are connecting through this template.
So then there is the question of when is the first call for funding going to happen? It will happen in, I believe, in 2025 or at the end of 2024. I don't know if Jürgen, you are here and you want to comment, but the topics are on the broad areas of photonics and optoelectronics, flexible electronics, constructions and composites. Maybe Jérôme, you want to add, or Jürgen, you want to add some comments on this?
Mobility, yeah.
Yeah, Andrea, I think you mentioned them already. We are in discussion with the member states. We're also in discussion with you in this regard. We had previously a discussion of what is the advantage of sitting in a partnership. Well, then you have a partnership board and you start discussing this together. That is a big difference. And a lot of feedback and also dissemination event. So there will be time also after the association is set up to look into this. But indeed, we are advanced. We have also foreseen 2 topics indeed for cooperation with Japan. It's all in the making. If people are desperately looking for the documents, I'm sure you have member states who are willing to share. Yeah.
Excellent. So we are essentially at the end. I will now ask, starting from Lars, if you have anything to add at the end.
I would like to, say a very big thank you to Jürgen, of course, and for all the people behind now that actually made this workshop to become a reality today. We had roughly 450 participants continuously during these 2 hours, which I think is a significant number. Really shows that people are taking this important, right? Which I think it's very, very nice. And I would like to re-emphasize one thing, and that is what Jürgen also said before. It's a new kid on the block. It's not just a new partnership. It's really a novel partnership, which is talking about an inclusive European materials ecosystem. It has not existed before. So it's a completely novel thing. So it's not only a new kid on the block, it's also the objectives are different. It's a new thing. I think this is something that I myself find extremely interesting. Since you may know, I was one of the igniters writing the Materials Manifesto many years ago that kind of speculated about the possibilities of actually making something like this. So I think this is excellent and great. And I would like to thank all of the people today, of course, just for you, Andrea, to sharing and holding the discussion forum so very nicely with the questions, etc. And of course, for Jürgen to participate here, right? And
Thanks.
all of you that participated digitally. I mean, it's because of you we do this, right? It's not because of us.
Then thank you very much, and we'll meet online or in person in October. Send us any questions you have, including to our personal emails if you have any troubles. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you.